The European adventure continues today as we enter the draw for the first knockout round of the Europa League. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 25 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode we have our final group game in the Europa League away against Austria Vienna, and then we're at home against Brighton in the Premier League before having the draw for the next round in the Europa League. Since you were last with me, our form has really started to pick up. From a bit, we had a couple of iffy matches against Chelsea and Ajax, two away games against Chelsea and Ajax. We're Fulham. We probably should have lost both of those games, but we did get absolutely battered by Chelsea. But I think the two of those games have been a bit of a wake-up call for us, because we then went and beat Manchester City 4-1 with Mitrovic scoring all 4 goals, currently Premier League top scorer again as we approach the January transfer window. But then we also beat Leicester, Huddersfield, Everton, so 4 consecutive wins in the Premier League. Plus, we qualified from our Europa League group with a win over Rosenborg. So the two tables currently look like this. We're 8th in the Premier League after 16 games, just 2 points behind 5th place Leicester, looking very strong in the Premier League. And Mitrovic is clear as top scorer in the Premier League. He's just scoring goals for fun. He's 31 now. I don't know where this best striker in the Premier League nonsense has suddenly appeared from at his age, but he's wasted all this time, theoretically close to his prime, playing in the Championship when he could have been a Premier League superstar all along. But he's scoring lots of goals again, including those 4 against Manchester City, and this is what our Europa League group looks like. So we are currently top of our group based on a better head-to-head performance against Ajax. So as long as we at least match Ajax's result against Rosenborg in our game against Austria Vienna, we will top the group, which I think then seeds us in the next round, but I could be making that up. You lot know. I don't need to worry about it. I'm sure we'll all find out towards the end of the episode anyway. So this is the team we're putting out there for the first of the 2 games against Austria Vienna. You'll notice, even though it's a Europa League game, Mitrovic is in the team. That's not because I've gone against my policy of playing Liam Thorne. It's because Liam Thorne's picked up an injury. If we have a look at his recent matches, he's had a little bit of an injury. He is recovering from the injury. He has played 3 games in Europe, scored 3 goals so far, and we will start using him again once we get into the knockout rounds as well. I really want to get him that Europa League experience, but for now Mitrovic will come in and hopefully continue scoring as many goals as he's been scoring. So we are bringing in youngsters around the rest of the team though. It's kind of a game that we don't really need to win, but it would be nice to still win, but it's more important to start developing some of our youngsters. So we're going with Ben Randall in goal, a back 4 of Bell, Schuster, Duffy and Unsworth, with Calderon as our half-back, Ceballos and Pineda as the midfield. We don't really have any youngsters there. Purbai's out on loan. We probably need a youngster in central midfield to bring in situations like this. And then up front we've got Mitrovic, supported by Ruiz and Franco as our young up-and-coming wide players. And obviously Franco is here on loan, which I know does upset some people that I'm developing young loan players. But we've got Hall and Lucas Moura who can play as right wing ahead of him. I don't know why my director of loans, we should call him, I don't know why 2 seasons in a row he's insisted on bringing in a third right winger for us on loan. But he has, and we may as well give him a game. Right, we do expect nothing but a win from this game. I'm just doing that calmly. We don't need to get all agitated in a Europa League group that we've already qualified from. We're probably going to finish top of, and we've played very well in. But it is important that we finish the group off with a win, just mainly so we can finish in that top spot. I think there's a nice little bit of European kudos for finishing above Ajax in a European group, even if it is an Ajax team who aren't necessarily one of your great Ajax teams. Pineda then, out to Unsworth. Unsworth back into Pineda. Pineda to Mitrovic, to Franco, and there is Rodolfo Franco. 4 minutes on the clock. It's his 2nd goal of the season. Another youngster benefiting from us being in Europe. Once we've got a slightly bigger squad, this whole European adventure, this could be awesome for us. We're never gonna worry too much about trying to win a European competition, I don't think. But with an already very strong youth setup at Fulham, if we can use this as a way to give our under-23, the standout players from our under-23s, an extra 10, 12 games of competitive football a season against top opposition, that's going to serve us really well in the league and help us hopefully push on at some point towards a Champions League finish, which obviously, as we've kind of hit a dead end with actually progress through job moves, I'm kind of accepting that we need to get into the Champions League with Fulham before I'm going to be able to make that move onto a bigger club. Ruiz has just put us 2-0 up. Both the young wingers grabbing goals early on in this game. But it does seem to be, it's kind of the model we've had to follow in non-league to legend in recent years. It seems very easy to make quite quick progress through job changes early on. You can make the jump from the Conference North up to League 2 sometimes. You can go from League 2 to the Championship sometimes. But for whatever reason, and I guess it's fairly true to real life as well, you don't often see managers of the likes of Fulham or Everton or, whoever else, Burnley, these sort of mid-table Premier League teams, they don't really get the jobs at Man United and Chelsea and Arsenal and the likes of the really big clubs. So I suppose it is fairly true to life. It is kind of how real life football works. But it does mean that as a young English manager who's clambered up from non-league, I have kind of hit a bit of a glass ceiling that the only way I'm going to break through it is to force my way through with the team I'm already managing or luck into a job somewhere in Europe. And it doesn't have to be in England. I'm not only looking at jobs in England, but I've been at Fulham. I think this is, episode 25 did we do? I don't think we did a 26th episode with St Albans. So this has been the longest we've been at any club. I've probably been at Fulham around 3 years at this point, and I've not been offered a single interview anywhere at any point. There are no clubs anywhere in the world who have got any interest in even giving me an interview. Now, to be fair, I've not applied for any jobs in that time either, which when we were at St Albans and when we were at Bristol Rovers, we were definitely applying for jobs, which is why we were getting so many interviews. But I didn't apply for any jobs when I was at Forest Green. I'm there managing Forest Green in League 2, and Bristol Rovers in mid-table in the Championship just came in and offered me an interview without any need for an application process. I'd only been at Forest Green a year. To me, that's a much bigger jump than going from a Fulham who finished 6th last year to Chelsea who finished 4th. But Chelsea have gone through multiple managers since I've been at Fulham, and I've never even had a sniff of an interview. So I'm starting to plan a little bit more long term at Fulham, and I know that means a lot of people are going to start to get attached, and how attached a lot of people got to Leicester last year, and how upsetting it was when I left Leicester to go to Arsenal eventually. But I don't see any other route to do it unless I make a sideways move over into a club in another country and see if it's different in other leagues. I don't know who would be an equivalent of Fulham in Germany or Italy or Spain. Would I get those kind of jobs? Because I'm not being offered interviews at them, but if I applied for a lower mid-table team in Spain or Italy or Germany, maybe I'd get those jobs. But then the whole realism thing of the save comes in. I realise I'm not talking about this game at all, but this is a conversation we need to have. It's an important conversation. I need your thoughts. You can watch the game while it's going on. I'll try not to make a habit of just chatting to you about something else while the match is going on. But realistically, I'm on a really good thing at Fulham. I'm on £28,000 a week. I'm in a nice house in the middle of London. I'm at a Premier League club who are challenging for European spots consistently. This is now the 3rd season in a row we've been challenging for a European spot out of the Premier League. Realistically, do I give that up and go and manage the team who are currently 14th in Spain? And realistically, I probably don't. So I think I have kind of got myself boxed into we need a Champions League finish with Fulham. And that's the only way we're going to progress. And I don't think we're going to get that this year. Hence, I have to think a little bit more long term. Let's go play Brighton, actually talk about that match. Then we can finally have the Europa League knockout round draw. That was a weird match. We won it, by the way, for those of you who only listen. I know I've already waffled on about this a lot, but just to illustrate the point a little bit further, these are the current vacancies in the top leagues around Europe. Now, remember, I've not been offered an interview at any of these. Huddersfield, Reading, you'd think they'd maybe be interested. I certainly wouldn't go to them. Hoffenheim finished 7th last year, 11th the year before. They're in the Europa League. I mean, it's a fairly similar size club to what we've got here at Fulham. Sevilla, how have they been doing? Sevilla finished 14th last year, but had previously been sort of a top 5 club. I think Sevilla might probably be a decent move. Although they're 17th in the Liga at the moment. If we have a look at La Liga and just see the situation that Sevilla find themselves in, they're in a relegation battle. So, again, realism hat on. Do I leave Fulham, who are in the next knockout round of the Europa League, and we can qualify for Europe again next year, and everything is looking good, to go and do a relegation battle with Sevilla, no matter how good they've been previously? I don't know if that's something I do. What would you do? Let me know down in the comments. A whole bunch of changes for the Brighton game then. A lot of this is enforced by injuries and just general fitness issues that we've got. Why is my moustache itching all of a sudden? Goodness me. But look at the state of this. We're basically playing everybody who can play. We've got Wendell, who's still injured. Franco picked up an injury in the last match. Paul Bell was exhausted and has now gone on a week's holiday, so he's not available for today's game. Mirabella still injured. Thorne still not fit. Simon Hall picked up an injury in the last match. Carter Vickers still injured. We're really down to the bare bones, to the point where we've got some youngsters I've not even introduced to you sat on the bench today. Mel Linford is a centre-back who, he's been here forever. He's never played a game. I don't want him to play a game today. I don't think he's very good. Arthur Bibaj is another one who's been knocking around the place for a little while. He's 18. He's been here for 3 years. He might end up any good one day, but I don't really want today to be the day he makes his Premier League debut. But we're running out of players. This European run, as much fun as it's been, is wrecking us. So, in light of all the new injuries as well, and we have got Mawson who can come in at the back, so that's a positive. Sessegnon has gone over to or has come back into the team at left back to cover for Paul Bell, who's on holiday. Unsworth is going to keep his place in defence in the league. Lopez obviously coming back in for Randall as well because it's a league game. Toussaint coming back in midfield along with Horta. So it's at least we've got our first choice midfield 3. Mitrovic stays in the team up front. Ruiz has to stay in on the left-hand side because Mirabella's still out, and Lucas Moura starts on the right because of injuries to the 2 players who played there in the last game. So Moura is now the only one left who can play on that right wing for us. We need a mid-season break here in the Premier League, but what we've actually got is, just as European football's going on a break for a couple of months, we've got the crazy, silly season in the Premier League coming up, and we've just got games. Right, we owe Brighton, and we're just running out of players. My players can adapt to any situation. This is where we really test over the next couple of weeks, the Christmas period. This is where we really find out how good this all-conquering under-23 team we've had has been. Because it's won the under-23 Premier League Cup, or whatever it's called, for the last 2 seasons. So we have a very, very good under-23 side. But we're now getting to the point where a lot of them are already in the team. The likes of Bell and Unsworth and Randall. And Simon Hall is part of that same generation. They're all already in and around the squad, and there's not many more we can call up now. And Mel Linford is not a player that I really want in my team anytime soon. We've got David Rhodes, who's out on loan, I think, at Crystal Palace. We might have to call him back, although centre-back's an area where we do have quite strong cover, because we've got obviously Schuster sat on the bench, Carter Vickers slowly returned to fitness as well, and Fulham have already scored. Not we're Fulham, Brighton have scored against us. Horta with the free kick, though. Moura heads across to Mitrovic, but Mitrovic heads straight at the feet, basically, of the Brighton keeper. Where are Brighton in the league? Brighton are in the relegation zone as this game starts. We need to get out there and sort our lives out. We can't be losing against Brighton at home after we've played so well in recent games. We thumped Man City, for goodness sake. Right, Sessegnon to Ceballos, to Horta, who should be reasonably fresh, didn't play at all in midweek, finds Lucas Moura, it's Mitrovic, and there's number 13 of the season, 12 minutes on the clock. Fulham 1, Brighton 1, and hopefully Mitrovic is going to have another one of his days. He's had some lovely days recently, as Mitrovic tries to become a Fulham legend and a Premier League all-time superstar. I don't understand how a player who is scoring goals at the rate he's now scoring goals for us, how he didn't look that great when we were down in the Championship. I mean, he scored a few goals, but he didn't look like a world beater in the Championship. He stayed in the Championship for so long. Obviously, Fulham got relegated from the Premier League season 1 of this save, and he then had, 4 seasons in the Championship? No one came looking for him. No one was desperate to bring Mitrovic back to the Premier League, but now here he is, and he's a superstar, and he's in his 30s. and it's mad. Lucas Moura now across to Ruiz, and Ruiz scores his 4th for the season. I tell you what, Kays Ruiz is looking like a good signing. We brought both him and Mirabella in permanently this summer. Ruiz came in from Paris Saint-Germain on a freebie, and he's looking like a very good player. We've got 2 very good inside forwards on that left-hand side now, and that is a lovely finish from Ruiz. And we've turned it around. It's 2-1 after 24 minutes, and hopefully we can continue playing well now and go and get a decent result, because as it stands right now, if things end as they are, we're 5th in the Premier League, which is a nice situation. Imagine that, going into the Europa League draw. If you'd have offered me that, Europa League draw day, you're going to be 5th in the Premier League, I would have bitten your arm off, because for a first season in the Europa League, I've done this before, and we always mess up. And this season, we just seem to be doing really rather well. I mean, look, we're only 4 points away from Manchester United, who are in the Champions League group. I still don't think Champions League this season is realistic for us, but I think we could potentially qualify for Europe for a second season in a row, which is fairly unheard of for me. Even going back to the days of Ipswich back in the first year of non-league to legend, I think we got into Europe, then almost got relegated, then got into Europe again. So if we can qualify for Europe again this season, that would be an incredible season. Ruiz, again, his 2nd of the game, his 5th of the season, just on the stroke of half-time. Fulham 3, Brighton 1, and Wolves. What's a Wolves? As far as I'm concerned, we're still 5th in the league, because I don't acknowledge Wolves exist, apparently, according to last season. But it's us and Wolves battling again. And at the moment, they're just ahead of us. I mean, we're not even at the halfway point in the season yet. We don't need to worry about this battle too much yet. We'll worry about that when we've played 36 games and they're just edging ahead of us. Right, I think we can probably do they're a man down, don't let your performance levels drop. That's a good one. I like that. Oh, that's motivated almost everybody as well. I almost did a team talk as good as my assistant manager's capable of doing. I don't even know if that happened in this series or the other one. So if you only watch this series, you don't know what I'm talking about. Just put it down to one of those days. I'm having a bit of an episode on this episode. It's, I think it's because it's so cold. It's so cold. I've had to double up on my layers today. I never layer up on these videos, but I'm that cold, I'm layering up. Right. And don't call me a lumberjack again. Someone called me a lumberjack yesterday because I was wearing a shirt. People wear shirts. You don't have to be a lumberjack to wear a shirt. Goodness me. Right. Couple of changes in midfield just to freshen things up in there. But really, at this point, this game should be won. To the point where if we score here, I'm bringing Mel Linford on. Pineda, almost. 2 very good opportunities there. It's back out to Calderon again. And it's Mawson to Ruiz. Can he grab his hat-trick? It's Mitrovic. He didn't grab his hat-trick. And now Brighton are breaking. If Brighton score here, Linford can put his trousers back on. But I'm tempted to bring him on at right back maybe. Unsworth played the whole game against Austria Vienna. He's now playing a whole Premier League game 3 days later. That's a lot of football for a youngster. And as we've seen with Bell, if we do that too much, he's going to burn out and have to go on a holiday. So I think the last 10 minutes, probably take Unsworth off, get Linford on at right back. That doesn't seem like it would be too disastrous, or maybe even Schuster. But I want to look at Linford. Sessignon forces a save out the Brighton keeper, mainly because there's a chip shop where I live called Linford's, and it's all right. And now I want to see if he's as good as the local chip shop. They win awards and stuff, so maybe he'll be an award-winning right back, and we can all celebrate by going to the chip shop together. I need a new heater. I can't work in these conditions. My brain isn't functioning properly, and I can hear what I'm saying, and I don't understand it. I apologise profusely for what's happening today. Next time you see me, I'll be wearing a hat, just so that I can keep my brain warm, so I don't start talking to you about celebrate. Spoilers, we're not all going to go to a fish and chip shop together, as much fun as it would be. There's thousands of you, and you're all over the world, and you don't know where the chip shop is. And even if you did, you're probably not going to come. We want another football match. I almost gave the assistant manager the team talk again, but let's passionately say I am happy with the way we've played. And now let's do the Europa League draw, which I think comes before the next match. I think that's why I planned the video the way I did. But based on some of the stuff I've talked about today, it might have already happened. Here we go then, Europa League first knockout round draw. let's get into it. Who have we got in this? So this is where the Premier League rejects come and join us, is it? Bayern Munich, Chelsea. Oh, we're not winning this. So Juventus, Lazio, Lyon, Marseille, Tottenham, Valencia, Villarreal. Right. We want to have a bit of fun. I've got no plans to win this competition, having seen some of the teams that are in it. I guess a team we're capable of beating would be quite nice, because it would be fun to have a run. But if we come up against Juventus now, that'd be a nice day out, wouldn't it? Lille away. Lille's got to be winnable, surely. Lille are 13th in the French First Division. Why are they in Europe? Did they win a cup to get here, or did they have a good season last year? They had a one-off 5th place finish last season, and now they're back to their normal mid-table. We should be able to smash Lille's faces off. Let's draw the rest of the thing. Let's see when those games happen. So that's going to be in February. Lots of games rearranged. Is that going to be our next episode? You know what? We might well do that. I think because the transfer window ends there, and then we can do both legs of Lille. Unless an FA Cup thing gets in the way, we'll probably just be back for both legs of Lille in the next episode, and then we'll see where the rest of the season takes us. I guess that seems to work out quite nice. I don't think we need to focus too much on the Premier League this year. We seem to have fallen into we beat the teams we're better than, we lose against the teams we're worse than. We'll probably finish somewhere between 5th and 8th. And let's go and enjoy a cup run rather than watching that happen again, because you've seen that the last 2 seasons. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.